The Bills are on the road in the first round of the playoffs, off to Houston to take on the Texans. Playoff predictions are ahead, and we have twice as many as the regular season, but first, here's a look at how the two squads stack up on paper. It's natural to immediately turn your attention to Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins when you break down the Texans' offense.
Wants DeAndre Hopkins, and Nuke makes the catch for another touchdown!
Houston's passing attack finished a respectable 14th in passing yards per game, and Watson put up a respectable 98.0 passer rating for the season. Hopkins' numbers this year, down compared to his last few seasons, but good enough that he and Watson clearly remain the team's offensive driving force. But to make an impact in this game, Hopkins will have to shake one of the league's top corners.
Picked off, intercepted! TRE'DAVIOUS White comes up with it!
TRE'DAVIOUS White has had a stellar 2019, posting a spectacular 45.1 passer rating when he's been targeted, which was 7th best, along with a 52.8 completion rate. He's been the leader of a pass defense that has been one of the league's elite, 3rd in rating allowed, 4th in passing yards per game allowed, 3rd in yards per pass attempt allowed. And their defensive prowess against the pass applies to both keeping wide receivers from blowing up against them.
It is tipped and it is picked off, intercepted.
They were tied for 5th fewest yards to wideouts this year, and tight ends. They held them to the 2nd fewest yards. That's important because even though he's not a household name, Darren Fells has made a big impact in several Texans wins this season.
Caught by Darren Fells, touchdown Houston! 2 TDs for the tight end.
Fells scored 7 times this season across 5 games, and in each one that he found pay dirt, Houston won. Now, if you're looking for cracks in Buffalo's D, it has to do with how they've fared against running backs. They were tied for 19th in receiving yards allowed to backs. And on the ground, they allowed 4.3 yards per carry, which ranked 18th. Lucky for the Texans, they have been far from one-dimensional when they have the ball, and they have guys who might be able to take advantage of those Bills' weaknesses.
10-yard TD run, El Guapo for the lead.
Carlos Hyde put up his first 1,000-yard season in his career and averaged 4.4 yards a run. And as far as backs as receivers, Duke Johnson was 3rd on the team in targets, and he had 3 receiving touchdowns, the Texans 3-0 in games he scored as a receiver. But overall, the theme when Houston has the ball and the Bills are on D, it's a strength versus strength, whereas the opposite is true when the Bills have the ball and the Texans are on defense. Now, it's not that Josh Allen didn't get better as a passer this season.
Touchdown! Touchdown, Buffalo!
Allen's numbers are better than his rookie year in pretty much every category: completion percentage, yards per game, rating, TD passes, yards per attempt, and he threw 3 fewer interceptions compared to his rookie year. But he didn't improve them enough to elevate Buffalo's passing attack to even mediocre levels. They generated just 201.8 passing yards per game, ranking 26th, and only one team's completion percentage was worse than theirs. However, the defense Allen will be facing has been one of the worst in football.
He's got Lewis, and Lewis has the end zone. Touchdown, Titans.
Houston was 31st at keeping teams from moving the chains on 3rd down, and dead last at keeping them from scoring a touchdown once they get in their red zone. The Texans also finished 29th in passing yards per game allowed, giving up a 97.6 passer rating along the way. Within all that was a tendency to give up a lot of big plays as well. They're 24th in yards per pass attempt allowed and have given up the 8th most pass plays of 20-plus yards. And that is one area the Bills' passing attack isn't so bad in.
John Brown got loose finally for a Buffalo Bills touchdown.
The Bills have the 14th most pass plays of 20-plus, John Brown, Allen's favorite deep ball threat. Of course, to throw deep, you need time, and that's not something Allen has had a lot of. The Bills' pass protection this year giving up 40 sacks, 18th most. But again, Houston's pass rush has been almost non-existent. 31st in pressuring the QB, tied for 26th in sacks. Which is why the Texans are really hoping J.J. Watt can somehow find his way back onto the field.
Here comes J.J., and he brings him down!
Watt had 4 sacks in 8 games before getting hurt, but even if he plays, it's hard to know how effective he'll be after such a long absence. But he most certainly represents the biggest X factor in this matchup. Either way, though, the passing game isn't the Bills' biggest advantage when they're trying to score on offense. It's their run game. 8th most rushing yards per game, an average of 4.4 yards per run. Devin Singletary didn't really take over as the focal point in their run game until late in the year, yet still finished with 775 yards on a hefty 5.1 yard per carry average. And then there's Allen, of course, who is their most dangerous runner in the red zone.
Darts up the middle into the end zone. Touchdown. Josh Allen, touchdown Buffalo.
Allen led all QBs, including Lamar Jackson, in rushing TDs with 9. He went for over 500 yards on the ground this year, which is down compared to 2018. But the Texans have not only allowed 4.8 yards per carry, which ranks 27th, they were also 26th in giving up rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. So Allen's legs should once again play a big role. Okay, so there's your statistical portrait of these two teams. Now let's see what kind of picture our predictions paint of them.
For this Chargers defense, 2nd and 10. Here comes Ingram. And again Watson escapes. Over the middle, it's caught. Akins wide